DC Multiverse!
How goes it, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Brad, the DC Universe Geek, and today, why don't we have a look at the McFarlane Toys John Henry Irons Steel action figure, both the regular edition and the Platinum. The packaging for both of these is exactly the same, black, white, and blue. On the side, we have the name Steel, where he comes from the reign of Supermen, and on the back, we have an image that is indeed not from the reign of Supermen, but rather it's from one of his later appearances. Over the years, Steel has had a few different action figures, not too many. The first one being made by Kenner as part of the Superman action figure collection. And he didn't only have one, but he had two in that action figure line. Hasbro would later go on to make an iteration of Steel, and those are the only ones you could get, unfortunately, until DC Direct decided to create their iteration of John Henry Irons. Following that, we had the DC Universe Classics try their hand at creating John Henry Irons in action figure form. And then finally, we had Total Heroes. Well, now as you can see, it's McFarlane's turn to try his hand at creating an action figure of Steel because, well, you're looking right at them, both the regular and the Platinum. Of course, both figures came with a trading card, but I've only got one in the video because they both came with the exact same trading card. Here's that bio in the back. You can pause to read if you would like to. Failing that, let's move on to the figures. Both of these guys are made up of 100% reuse, with the only real difference being the paint applications on either one. Where the regular release has gone with more classic colors, like the red cape and the basic silvery color for his body. In this case, it's actually like a silvery gray color. The Platinum Edition has gone for a darker gray and a lighter grayish white color for the other half of the body parts, opting to make even the cape a really light gray. Personally, I feel like it would have been better if they had used a red cape on this one as well, because then both of these versions of Steel would have been passable as a basic version of Steel, just with slightly different coloring. They've also both got these blue flecks. This darker one doesn't have as many of them, but spotty as they are there. Whereas the regular release definitely has more of that blue coloring mixed in with the gray plastic. Look, it's even on top of his head. This was clearly done to simulate the look of shiny metal, like light glistening off of the steel. Personally, and as you can see them side by side here, I would have rather had them make Steel at least out of this color plastic rather than something quite as dark as this and use the blue flecks. The paint deco on Steel really brings out all of the scrapes and divots in his emblem, and I think it actually looks better on the Platinum Edition. These shoulder pauldrons and boots on both of them are the only thing about the figure that I'm not super keen on. And by that, I mean, I wish they had have really just made the boots as, you know, he's always worn them with, well, these ones. I feel like that's just a much better look for Steel. They both, of course, come with their hammers. And as far as the color properties go, the Platinum has my vote yet again. And you can see that blue flecking in the regular one, like lots and lots of that blue flecking. And oddly enough, instead of molding this out of one piece, it's been molded out of two and then fit together, probably because the hammer is perhaps hollow and they're trying to save a bit of money on plastic. I like how both of them have their arm-fastened rivet launcher. I'm not really sure how the fuel packs attached to his waist make any sense, because there's supposed to be a hose that goes down his leg and attaches to his boot, so that the thrusters on the bottom of his feet have a fuel line. Steel's facial sculpt is pretty good, and the paint on mine is pretty tidy. There's really not much to paint though. I mean, you really just have to paint around the eyes. I mean, I think it's pretty tidy. I always see better once I've looked at the footage from the camera, but I think it's okay. And it's the same for the other head sculpt. I actually kind of prefer the look of this one over the other one. I like this. I like this one more than I like the other one for sure. If you're looking for a comparison, well, here he is standing next to McFarlane's Superboy and a long-haired version of Superman, along with the Eradicator. Now at this point it seems like the only thing left to do is test out the articulation. How articulated is old shoulder pauldrons here going to be? Well, let's find out. Oh, dude. Oh, these shoulder pauldrons actually, they come right out of the way. Yeah, he has the same T that pretty much every Multiverse figure has. Rounded socket, rounded hinge, bicep swivel, double jointed elbow, rounded hinge with a peg in the wrist. I'm curious to see what these do. What do the elbows do? Not bad. Could be better, but not bad. I mean, he does have this gigantic rivet launcher on his wrist, so I mean, that's gonna get in the way of the articulation somewhat. Ball jointed noodle. That's a good range of motion. Looks up about that, so that's pretty good for a flight pose. Torso, it has that rounded ball joint, and the same thing with the waist. And he's got, what has he got? Down, back, down, back. Yeah, not bad. Down here in the groin, we've got a fair amount of out and around. We got some of that. I will tell you that because this diaper area is made out of like a plastic and not a softer rubber, that's happened. We have a rip, which also tells me that this was kind of tight to begin with because there's not a lot of space in there. Like I could not heat this up and push it back together. So that's kind of a thing. So pushing it this way is like, that's definitely challenging. So that is what he comfortably gets. Not so good, but as you can see, the double jointed knees do a good job. Great big rounded hinge down here, and he's also got toe articulation. These look like big robotic Crocs. He's got steel Crocs on. So what do I think about these steel figures? Well, first of all, I do really like the character, and I'm really stoked that we now have a version of him in McFarlane Toys' 7-inch DC Multiverse line. Although I wish that the boots were different, and they had have made the regular version out of an actual chrome-like plastic. And I do wish the hammers were less skishy. Something I forgot to mention previously when I was talking about the hammers. They're very bendy. I will say that overall I feel like these figures are a success. The Platinum Edition maybe more so than the regular. If you're out on the hunt and you find these guys hanging on the pegs, don't hesitate to toss them in your cart if you're a Steel fan, a Superman fan, or someone who is collecting almost all of the characters from the DC Multiverse line. Steel is going to be a hot seller, at least in the beginning, so if you see him, don't pass him up, because your collection will thank you for it later. Anyway, have yourself a super awesome DC day, guys, and take care. Bye for now.